2015, an elite DFS Army Commando unit formed to bring high-level DFS strategy to the masses. Today, hated by DFS sharks and lineup sellers alike, they continue their quest to turn dope into DFS pros.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is your DFS Army Bold Calls edition for Wednesday, February 6th, 2019. And I am your host today, the one and only Boomer's Daddy, trying to stay warm here in Oklahoma. I almost said Colorado on that one, where it is a balmy 33 degrees. And joining me from... Is it still raining there?
No, not today.
Joining me from California is the one, the only Bear. What up, brother?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. I know you can't see, but I got the lettuce chopped. Got the haircut all done. Me and the boy this morning went to the workout, then went and got the domes taken care of. So we look spiffy.
Nice.
So I know it took you about 3 hours to get yours all done the other day. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. So couple things. Want to go ahead and rehash last night, just for a second, and then we'll move on to today. Yeah, Mikey, my skin looks really good now. It's the Deej Hanley stuff I've been using pretty constantly, so it works out great. So, but okay, so I missed on Kemba Walker yesterday. Patrick Beverley was a major disappointment as far as shutting him down. Absolutely nailed Hassan Whiteside, and looking back on it, I wish I had more, but I'm okay with the fact that I didn't, because the value that opened up late allowed me to get in guys like Russ, George, and Joel Embiid. So, and Karl Anthony Towns, and Andre Drummond. So, like, when you look back on it, like, there were like 5 centers that just absolutely went off. And that was always something that I get a little scared of from time to time, especially on FanDuel, because usually if you don't have like the best value out of the bunch, and then you have other studs that go off at other positions as well, you have to have that best one in order for it to become, for your lineup to be like a top 5% or a top 3% type of lineup. We were all over Lou Williams yesterday. Mike Conley, we got word late that Marc Gasol was being talked about trading or getting traded to the Hornets. That did not come to fruition, although it still has time. I pulled Gasol out, locked in Yvonne Rabb in both sites, and I pulled Mike Conley out as well because of the fact I did that late, just because of the fact that I didn't want something to happen and then like at halftime we only get like half of a game out of a guy that was $9,000. So that did scare me, but Mike Conley did well. Nailed Terrence Ross again, and Evan Fournier. You could have played him in both, but we did nail them. And I don't want to say I won the argument, because I think we both did yesterday, but I when I got down to the specifics of it, I can't talk today. I feel like I was dead on the Aaron Gordon situation. Now I will say this. I was sweating because he was sitting there at 34 at halftime.
He went nuts early on.
He went nuts early in the game, and then
he even started the third quarter, started going nuts, and then he calmed down. By the way, for all of our listeners, viewers, watchers, I got a new microphone today, so I'm all super official now. But so hopefully my audio is super clear. But I mean, the bottom line is that he was a better player than Nance. Like, he doubled up Nance almost, which was my point. At that range, he was the best play. He was. He hit over 40, which is what I said I wanted out of him, and that's what we got. And it worked out. So at the end of the day, it wasn't about who's right, who's wrong. It was about the fact that he worked out. He was the right play. And with the value that opened up, putting in Rab and Tice for his price, Olynyk was just disappointing, unfortunately. But
I called that one.
Well, the thing was, we didn't get any word about him starting.
Yeah.
So as soon as I saw him starting, I'm like, crap.
Yeah, that made it even worse.
Yeah, it made it worse. Sure.
But yeah, and like you said, it doesn't matter who's right and wrong. I feel like we were both right because I put some caveats on there. One, I said this does not apply to DraftKings because he was 6,200 over there. Two, I said that he had to be chalk in order for any of this to be worth it, and he wasn't. He was 13% in my tournaments, 11% in yours. So I don't think you get above 15% unless you're playing a shorter slate. And I said he wouldn't break 45, and he just barely hit 45. Did he?
No, he hit 46, I think it was. But no, I don't have my cleaning lady today.
44.2.
I only have my cleaning lady once every 2 weeks. Yeah. So leave Anna alone.
Yeah, it was 44.2, and I said that I liked Jason Tatum better. Now,
well, it was also Larry Nance was better, but
yeah,
I mean, and that by the way, I didn't play a single Cav. I didn't see any reason to versus the Celtics. I think you and I agreed there, particularly as far as the guards are concerned. I mean, playing Jordan Clarkson for me, 0 cents.
He got the X button on me.
I didn't understand. Playing Alec Burks, maybe as like a tournament play, but like those two guys were going to see a combination of Marcus Smart and Jason Tatum, or excuse me, Jaylen Brown. So what the hell are we doing playing those guys versus Boston? You want to get a little bit of an advantage, play bigs. Right now, Sexton went off. He crushed.
And I found out when I was listening to the broadcast yesterday at the beginning, and Brian Scalabrine came out and he kind of pointed out some extra motivation because Terry Rozier had absolutely just lit him up. And it was a couple weeks ago in Boston, and Terry Rozier's from Youngstown, Ohio, and so he was quote unquote coming home. So Colin Sexton wanted to make sure that he let it be known that he can, be a force in this league maybe one day. I've never seen anybody other than a younger Russell Westbrook absolutely just sprint down the court, stop on a dime, and pull up like he did a couple times last night. It was like
he had some pep.
Yeah,
he definitely had some pep.
And if we would have known that, and the DS really did like him, I think it was more of a price-based thing rather than a great matchup or anything like that. But I had him in one lineup, and that was it, and it was on DraftKings. And I don't know how he made it into that lineup, but he was in only one lineup. Dame kind of hurt. That I didn't think that he was going to shoot 5 for 15 from the field. Vucevic, that kind of hurt a little bit. He had a tough time with Steven Adams. And it looks like Adams is on the other end of getting healthy. Every single Boston guy went off last night, except for Terry Rozier. And this was one of the reasons why we said Terry Rozier was, kind of, he had the upside, but, with everybody there, it was really kind of tough to play him because I think they would like to get everybody else going over Terry Rozier just because of the fact that, they have Kyrie Irving. So, let's see here. Somebody asked me about Dwyane Wade last night, and I said, no, I'm sorry to you. James Johnson came out of nowhere and had a phenomenal game.
See, but that James Johnson spot was supposed to be Kelly Olynyk's spot.
See, I can see that, but I also think that Aminu's more of a tougher matchup for Kelly Olynyk rather than James Johnson because of the body types and the type of games that they play. So that I get your point. I see it, but like I didn't like Kelly Olynyk either way because of the Aminu defense that we had gone over. So, that was stupid. That was one of the things that kind of popped off. Man, today's going to be interesting. So for those of you that don't know, Anthony Davis will be active tonight, but he will not be playing. I don't know why you make him active. I don't know if it's for them to get around like the CBA. I don't know, but that's the situation. We're getting word that Julius Randle is going to be active as well as a just in case, but the likelihood of him playing is more on the doubtful side, but he's still considered a game time decision. Did I explain that part right?
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is there's going to be another 3-4 hours of trade talks between the front offices. And when they find out that nothing is really available that they want, this is speaking for Randall, not AD. He's going to play or he's not going to play. Because Anthony Davis, so the reason why he's active is because, you mentioned CBA. The doctors cleared him.
Yes, they did.
So if your doctors cleared you and all of a sudden, but we're still not going to play him or make him active, you're going to get a call from the league office. Like, what are you guys doing? Like they know what's going on, but from a fan base perspective, you have to at least make him. Now you can say he's active, but we're not risking him getting hurt because we're in the process of having trade conversations. It's more you can do that,
Right, and I get that. I get it all. I just don't see I don't see why it would be such a big deal to even have him unless they're that short on bodies or they plan on being that short on bodies because you have to have at least I think 9 guys active.
Yeah.
Then that's the reason that I could see it. But because of the trade deadline being tomorrow and everything like that, I don't see why there would be such a big deal with just keeping them out until the next game.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of where I lay on that. The Julius Randle thing, like you said, they're gonna see what's out there still. They don't expect him to be traded, but at this point, if AD's out the door and you've got to see what you can do to set yourself up for the future. And if there's a good enough package out there for a guy who's played very, very well this season and is on a pretty affordable contract, then you've got to think about it.
Very affordable contract.
It's something that you have to think about. So, so neither one of them are probably gonna play tonight. Although the Julius Randle thing is something that we are gonna have to watch out about.
We have to watch out, definitely,
because that's gonna change the complexion of that game completely.
Yes. And to answer the question, Arky, it will probably affect Kenrick in terms of he won't see the same amount of minutes, but they can also keep him at the 4 and just sit Okafor and put Randle at the 5. So we don't know. Ultimately, I don't think Randle plays today.
They can put Kenrick at the 3 too if they want to.
Yeah, but that will put Darius Miller at the 2.
And you have a problem with that? And Drew at the 1? with the garbage that they're running out at point guard right now.
A problem? No, but they've been starting Frank Jackson. So
no, I get that, but
I mean, will they do that, or they can start Frank Jackson? This is why it's difficult. They can start Frank Jackson and they can play him 8 minutes and then bring whomever off the bench. So
yeah, it's I'm not saying like Drew's gonna play some point guard today, and I'm not saying like they could put Kenrick at the 3 like the whole game or anything, but I could see him with Okafor, Randle, Kenrick, Drew, and I just lost my train of freaking thought. Who's the other guy at the 2?
4. New Orleans?
Yeah.
It's Drew. What do you mean who's the other guy?
No. The guy that we just talked.
Darius Miller.
Got it. So, that could be a situation that they run out there at times against Chicago. Excuse me. Okay, so let's go over some injuries here, and then we'll get down to breaking some of these matchups down. Okay. By the way, everybody, lock is 30 minutes later tonight than normal. So yay, we get 30 minutes more to screw up our lineups with tinkering. Guys, don't tinker. Please don't tinker. Jared Dudley, he's out tonight with a hammy. Got to watch out for the Denver information. Gary Harris is out. But Jamal Murray and Paul Millsap are questionable. For the Nets, though, Joe Harris and Alan Crabbe are probable. We're going to end up having to break down that situation and talk about a couple different things there. Just talked about the Anthony Davis situation. For the Bulls, we have Wayne Selden and Kris Dunn. Selden is probable. Kris Dunn is in. Mm-hmm. For Chicago, Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot, he is still in the process of taking his physical. The trade is complete and everything, but I doubt he suits up tonight. And if he does, he's not going to be on your DFS radar anyways, but I had to mention him. Nikola Mirotic is doubtful tonight. Etuan Moore is out. Julius Randle is a situation we already talked about. And Elfrid Payton is out. Jabari Parker is probable. It's personal reasons. I think he was back with the team this morning, if I saw the tweet right. It was either this morning or yesterday morning. So we'll have to watch out for there. For the Milwaukee Bucks, Jason Smith is questionable, and Stanley Johnson is evidently being traded to the Bucks.
Already been traded for Thon Maker. Dante DiVincenzo is also listed it out.
Yes. Troy Brown for the Washington Wizards. For the Dallas Mavericks, Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Trey Burke are in tonight.
Should be interesting.
Yeah, no kidding. We're going to have to talk about that. Tony Parker is out for the Charlotte Hornets. For the Utah Jazz, Real Neto is out. And for the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker is out. Real Neto is probable.
He's in, yeah.
Yeah, so that gives him a little bit more point guard depth. For the Houston Rockets, Eric Gordon is questionable. And for the Hammer game here, that we're going to have a lot of fun talking about, Derek White, DeMar DeRozan, and LaMarcus Aldridge are all out. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. Don't be surprised if Rudy Gay and Pau Gasol play like 10 minutes. Just because it's Pop shoving his middle finger up to the ESPN crowd.
Yep.
So
what'd he do?
Yeah, it's they actually had to. Oh no, they didn't. I was about to say they actually had to list DeMar DeRozan with an injury because of the fact that you're not supposed to quote unquote rest multiple stars in national TV games. He's the one that caused this, and it caused a big, huge fine. Remember when he left? Who was it? LMA, Powell, Tony Parker. He left basically half the Spurs home when they went to Miami for a one-game road trip, and they got fined like $50,000 or whatever it was. So that's the injury situation today. Shall we talk about some plays?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. At the point guard position, you think a lot of people are going to go back to Kemba after last night?
I do. I do.
Do you think that with and I want to throw this out here, okay? I'm not saying that Kemba is a bad play. Okay? He's the top point guard on the board. He should be in your cash games. He's a fantastic play. He looked phenomenal last night. But I'm Q chasing tonight. Okay? And where I will have some Kemba, I'm thinking of taking the $100 discount, trying to leverage this ownership with Steph Curry.
Oh boy.
And praying that Steph just goes off in the 30 minutes that he's going to play if it's a blowout. Now, I say this because of the fact of this still resonates with me completely. Remember when Julius Randle was announced out when they were playing the Oklahoma City Thunder? We got off of Russell Westbrook. We got off of Paul George. And we went to backup guys. And it bit us hard. Make no mistake about it. The Spurs are going in shorthanded. That does not mean that they're going to basically punt this game. Okay? They're going to go in. Pop is still a Hall of Fame coach. They're still going to play hard. And do they win? Probably not. But would I be surprised if it's a close game into the fourth quarter? And when I say close game, I mean within 8 to 10 points.
I would be.
To where the starters are still out there. I wouldn't be totally and utterly shocked. Let me put it that way. Because of how good a coach Pop is. Like, when the Mavericks traded everybody, you know, me and you were there like, whoa, pump the great brakes on this blowout for the Mavericks. Because now, granted, they were playing the Pistons. But we were still like, pump the brakes because of the fact that Rick Carlisle is a Hall of Fame coach. Granted, the level of the talent between the Warriors and the Pistons is completely different. I am not denying that. But I think I can get 5 to 10% ownership out of Curry. And if Kemba struggles, or he just has a so-so game and doesn't hit 50, I think you can have an advantage on the field in some of these larger field tournaments with you putting out multiple lineups and like that type of a situation. Not cash games, not single entry tournaments, not triple ups, not head-to-heads. I'm talking you have multiple lineups and you're doing it in like 1 or 2 to get off of the chalk of Kemba and leverage the ownership in hopes that you have that percentage pegged right and the rest of your lineup performs by the time that Golden State tips.
So I think we're going to have to start off the show with disagreeing. I don't know if I can touch that game.
Somebody's going off in that game. One of those three is going off.
Yeah, they are, but they're all also like expensive.
But see, 9,200 isn't that expensive for Curry, knowing what he can do in 3 quarters.
No, I agree with that. At the same time, if it's one of the other guys, you're screwed. So.
Oh yeah, and that's why I said multiple lineups, and you're only doing it in like 1 or 2. Like I've got a lot of lineups into this queue tonight, and I'm talking like 1 or 2 shots to leverage this ownership.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Particularly if you're not playing Kemba at all and you're going that route, I'm okay with that. But like you talk about chasing the queue, like you still need your 55.
No, I get it. Like it's got to be a perfect situation for it to happen.
Right.
I just don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that it could happen.
So
Gasol expects to go to Charlotte.
Yeah,
Jared Dudley, like I said last night, this is still very much in play. We'll come down to the playoffs. Jared Dudley's out, yet he's tweeting about the Philadelphia 76ers and Jimmy Butler leaving in the offseason. That's hilarious. Anyways, sorry, go ahead. I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So I also think, though, that, specific to that game, like I kind of like some of the second, third string value plays from that game, just because I mean, look, man, I don't reasonably, I don't think that game stays close. Could it? Maybe.
Yeah,
possibly.
reasonably thinking, it's amazing because it's a 14.5-point spread, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to 15 or 16 by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So I mean, we'll have to see, but I'm looking at some other spots here that I want to attack. So so from the top end of this, in terms of point guards, there's nothing I love right now.
Like, are you telling me you don't love Kemba against Dallas right now?
No.
Why not?
I loved him yesterday, not today. Well, it's so weird, but
because this is going to be he's one of your chalkier guys that you're going to end up going to tonight. Or not that but the industry is going to go to.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So to understand the reasoning on why Bear doesn't like it is probably pretty important. And I would listen up and take notes. Because I promise you this isn't going to be a popular opinion.
It's not.
Go ahead.
It already hasn't been to start off the day. But guess what? I don't care. Number one, I don't care. Number two, a lot of times I make these decisions, and am I right every time? Of course not. But I'll take my win rate all day long. Because I don't just look at, his usage is X. Let's play him. Any a-hole can look up usage and say, he's in a good spot, right? I watch a lot of these games. I watch a lot of these rotations. I watch a lot of these strategy that a lot of these coaches implement. And I also look at very recent numbers. When I say very recent, I'm talking about like over the last 5 days, right? So I'm looking over the last 5 days. Guess who's one of the top defenses versus point guards?
I'll throw a caveat to this. The fact that because our ADVP goes 30 days back and they're one of the worst. But also keep in mind in that situation that the last 30 days they had JJ Barea, they had Dennis Smith Jr. Both of them did miss significant amount of time. They were running out there Wesley Matthews, Jalen Brunson, and Devin Harris at the point guard. So just wanted to make that caveat. Go ahead.
Yep. So since all of that is no longer the case, all those players are no longer there, they've really improved, Dallas has. So, I mean, they're like on pace with the Rockets and Chris Paul coming back in terms of their defense. And a lot of that, too, is it's now Luka's the point guard. Luka he's big. Like, he was playing the power forward before they traded Dennis Smith. Like, he's big. He's a big guard. And he causes fits, and he makes it difficult for shooters to get their shots off because he's so tall. And then on top of that, there's really I would say less than a handful, but let's just say for conversation's sake, a handful of coaches that I don't mess with in terms of their abilities to
scheme against a certain player.
Yeah. And that other night, when all of those, when the trade happened between Dallas and New York, and they were like, 4 players, and everyone was like, they're gonna get destroyed. Nope. We were like, nope. Very well coached team. They still have their system in place. Everybody knows their role on that team. Luka without Luka, DSJ or not, they're going to be in that, and they won the game, or they covered the spread by a mile.
Oh yeah, it was basically a 2-possession game, like under a minute left to go in the game.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah.
So I'm kind of in the same ballpark here, and I mean it's the same team, but now they actually have Luka back. So, and they're going to get Hardaway Jr. and they're going to get Trey Burke and they're going to get Courtney Lee, who's a phenomenal defender who might actually see the court. Because I'll tell you one thing that I'm positive of. Carlisle's going to love him some Courtney Lee.
Oh yeah.
He fits that mold so perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have the shooting that maybe a Wesley Matthews had, but defensively, I mean, he's going to love him.
Yep. I would agree 1,000% on that one. Okay, we've got some people wanting us to talk about Kris Dunn and Eric Bledsoe. I guess you can throw in there Jamal Murray and Ricky Rubio. Jamal Murray, I'm probably not going to play. Just because I'm a little concerned about the ankle. If he does play, I really want him to sit out one more game. Like, I want to get Malik Beasley and Monty Morris against the Nets, along with Will Barton and, just pretty much I want all the Nuggets because the Nets defense has not been great over the last 30 days. But if Jamal Murray does play, probably not going to go there. I just don't, because this is the second time he's been out with an ankle this year, and that scares me. Like, because what happens when you sprain an ankle is you basically stretch the tendons in that ankle.
Yeah.
And it makes it a lot easier. And Steph Curry is a perfect example of this. It makes it a lot easier to sprain your ankle again, especially when you're coming back so quickly. Like, they can put braces on it, they can do all this stuff, but you lose the mobility and you lose the ability to go and create plays. Now, what they could do is stick Malik Monk out there at the 1, Jamal Murray at the 2, put Beasley on the bench, and let Murray run the 2 and just catch and shoot. I could see that as an option, and just have Monty Morris run the offense along with Wilson Chandler and Nikola Jokic. Or did I just say Wilson Chandler? Will Barton. Sorry. I just was looking at I just saw something come through about the Tobias Harris, Wilson Chandler trade. So I think that's a possibility. What about Eric Bledsoe, Kris Dunn? And Ricky Rubio into that group. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit concerned about Kris Dunn. Matchup is phenomenal. But first game off of a pelvic contusion. I mean, I've never had a pelvic issue, so, I can't speak to kind of how it affects basketball movements. But if we get word there's no minutes limit, I'll be a little more interested at 6,600. I mean, that's a tough price to pass on for a guy like him, particularly against
New Orleans.
I guess New Orleans, and not so much specifically New Orleans, but guys like Frank Jackson.
Yeah, because I think Drew Holiday sees a lot of Zach LaVine. So
yeah,
I do like Kris Dunn there. If Kris Dunn is out, well, he's in. But if he's limited at all, that'll bring into the conversation Ryan Arcidiacono for me. And not as anything more than a drop score candidate on FanDuel for me. So, but we'll have to kind of see exactly how the minutes news comes out. Eric Bledsoe, maybe?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, certainly the matchup is pretty solid there. The issue I have with Bledsoe is I like him more when one of their main starters are missing. Particularly
Wilson?
No,
Giannis?
Brogdon.
Oh, Brogdon. Ooh, yeah. Didn't even think about that.
So By the way, I do like Brogdon here today. We'll talk about him in the next position. But so I'm kind of on the fence about Bledsoe. Jamal Murray, I'm too concerned about. I was listening to Coach Mike Malone, and he was like, "Oh, he's getting closer." So, that might mean he might not even play. If he does play, and the coach doesn't say he's 100%, he just said he's getting closer, I'm a little bit concerned. So I probably wouldn't be jumping on there. But unfortunately, no, Jamal Murray.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So, and guys, just based on our chat here, you can't trade for a guy and then trade him back out in another package.
You can. It's just 30 days. It has to be 30 days.
But the 30 days will mean the trade deadline passes.
That's why I just said,
Can you hold on a second, please?
Yeah. That's why I was mentioning everything that, you could, but it would be a package in the summer, not, obviously this. But, so Eric Bledsoe with Brogdon in isn't that great. But I still think he's in a good matchup, and if this game stays close late, then we could end up seeing some value out of there. 7,500 is a little bit tough to pay for me on FanDuel, but his price on DK is not that bad at all.
What is it?
There's 2 of these. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And then are you able, I don't know if you're able to
68. So he's just under Chris Paul and De'Aaron Fox, and right above Kris Dunn. So it's one of those situations that it's a little tough to swallow. You were right on with Thomas Satoransky the other day. I know we didn't have a pod that day, but we talked about it in personal DM.
Yeah.
I played him, and if I would have played him in the other lineup, I would have ended up winning 15K and a Q and everything.
Yeah.
He didn't fit, and a 2v2 swap between my two lineups would have been amazing. So I thank you for that. So what are we doing with these value guards? Bryn Forbes, Patty Mills, Frank Jackson, Eli Okobo, Tim Frazier, Jalen Brunson. There's a lot of these guys down here under $4,500 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
And there's warts on on all of them. It's a crapshoot tonight.
It's a crapshoot, yeah. I definitely do not trust Popovich to play any of these value guys, because he could literally, an hour before the game, call up a couple of G League players and play them. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason for what he does outside of wanting to piss us off.
Wait, who's was it Lonnie Walker, the 5th or the 15th?
I was going to get to Lonnie Walker.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know where you were going.
That's my guy. That's where I was going. I'm actually playing Lonnie Walker tonight, guys. So, he's with the team. I don't. You've already got White out for injury. You've got DeRozan resting. You've got Aldridge resting. This to me is kind of like one of those scheduled loss games. Right? Yeah, obviously he's given the finger to ESPN, whatever, too. But at the same time, it's he's like, you know what? It's kind of like what the Lakers did with LeBron versus the Warriors. We're not going to win this game. He just came back from injury, played 40 minutes the first game off of injury. He's obviously sore, so we're going to sit him. We're not going to win the game anyways. And they put in a decent effort, at least through 3.5 quarters. I don't know if the Spurs team will do the same. Just because they're missing they're missing 1A and 1B with DeRozan and Aldridge. It's not like they're resting, Patty Mills or whatever, but they're missing their 2 best players. So at some
3
point,
best players, I would say. Derek White.
Yeah, but I was talking about more like just resting him because we don't want him to play kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so on FanDuel, Lonnie Walker for whatever reason is a shooting guard.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which makes it harder for me to play.
I have another guy that you could do.
Okay.
Now, and it's only because of the fact that you can pop out a drop score on FanDuel, but Jawan Evans for the Phoenix Suns, if Eli Okubo ends up crapping the bed at all, I mean, it's against the Jazz, so it's not really that sexy, but we've seen Jawan Evans come out, and with playing time, he hustles. And I've been watching this, like, they wanted to keep him in Los Angeles. Doc Rivers said that he just couldn't. And the bad part was, if they would have known that Milos Teodosic would have, like, not wanted to be there, I think they would have kept him and just shipped off Milos. They like the way that this guy plays. He plays hard. He's not that polished of a shooter, although he can get hot. But I mean, 3,500. If he doesn't play, then great. You've got a 0 drop score in tournaments, and guess what? You don't have to wait when your hammer game kicks off in order to start climbing.
Right.
But he has been known to go out and put up 25 30s when he was with the Clippers before. I wouldn't do him and Lonnie Walker in the same lineup, but he's a name to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
So, and it's just on FanDuel, guys. If any of you show me a lineup today and it has Jawan Evans on DraftKings, I'm not even going to answer you.
Yeah,
so,
fair enough.
All right, let's talk about shooting guards here because we've talked a lot about point guards as we usually do. James Harden against Sac. I don't care if Chris Paul's back. That was a little bit of a wrap. Sorry. He is 14K. I will have some exposure to him.
He's tough for me to play, guys.
12-6 on DK, so
he's tough for me to pay for now. I mean, like the other couple nights I played him when he was way under these prices. I played him because of the prices. Obviously, when Chris Paul was out, here's the thing, man. That game Chris Paul was out against Phoenix.
People were afraid to play him because of the blowout.
Like, no one touched him. And I'm like, I'm all in. So, like, I literally played him in like $1,000 worth of lineups.
Yeah, we got him at like 15%.
It was, I think, a little bit less. I think I had him at like 11.
I think he was 17 in my tournaments that night.
So it was just kind of like
anything under 20 for Harden, I'll take it every single day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, this is to me, this is probably the game of the night. It's going to be high scoring. It's going to be close. I
think there's gonna be a lot of ownership from this game too. So
yes.
If you're ahead and winning a tournament, and you don't have somebody from this game at the end, by the time that this game kicks, you might as well just close your laptop because you're not going to be winning the 4 or 5 figures anymore.
Yeah.
At the end of the night, there's so many plays from this game. Like I love it. I absolutely love this game tonight. So
far, I would say out of all my early lineups, everyone has at least 2 players from this game. So at least. And a lot of them have a lot more. So that's that. Here's why I'm able to not play as much James Harden, because there are 2 guys here that I'm going to play everywhere. The first one, I don't care that his price is jacked up. It's worth it. And that's Luka Doncic.
You don't think he sees a lot of Nick Batum?
Probably not. Because that means that Kemba is going to guard Harrison Barnes? I don't think so. Defensively,
no,
it's a matchup nightmare.
He's going to be at the 2, and they put Jeremy Lamb on Harrison Barnes.
Then who's going to guard Jeremy Lamb?
Harrison Barnes.
Okay, so let's recap here. So Harrison Barnes on
No. Okay, so Nick Batum on Luka Doncic. Okay.
Nick on Luka. Okay.
Jeremy Lamb on Harrison Barnes.
Right.
Kemba Walker on whoever gets thrown out at the 2, Tim Hardaway Jr. or Courtney Lee or Alex Burks or Trey Burke, whoever, he's guarding them. And then you've got Marvin Williams against Dwight Powell or Maximilian Kleber, and then
why do you call him Maximilian?
Because that's his name. And I like the fact that it's Maximilian.
That's funny.
Because one day he might win us $1 million.
That's very true. So, excuse me. So,
I think it's going to be unconventional for the Hornets tonight because of the fact that the Mavs run an unconventional type of
I can see it.
situation.
I can see it. But don't forget, you also have Finney Smith there, probably in the starting lineup. We'll see. So right now, the projection...
They didn't start Zeller last night, did they? He came off the bench, right?
Correct.
So if he starts, do you think they put out Mejri to kind of match with the size?
No.
Okay. I was just asking.
They don't need to. He's not that kind of a dominant big in terms of size down low. I think Cleveland can certainly handle him. Now, they go and play like a Pistons team, that's different. But for Charlotte, probably not. So we'll have to wait and see who the starters are. And then once we see who the starters are, you can lean on your coaches to kind of match up who with who. But I kind of like a lot of parts of this game too. But like, for example, I like Kleba a lot here. I think Kleba can do some damage in this game. Mm-hmm. But on the shooting guard topic, I'm happily playing Luka.
Okay. I do think he's going to see a lot of Nick Batum. I'm going to have to look at it a little bit deeper. I'm not saying that I'm not on him, but I'm not saying that I love him. I think I would if you give me one, I'd much rather go with Donovan Mitchell and Drew Holiday, or even a Bradley Beal and a Drew Holiday, rather than a Luka. I'll have some exposure, but I'm not like... Trade is official. Stop the presses.
What official? What trade?
That's Malachi Richardson. Why did he do this to me? I didn't realize who the guy was a beat writer for, and he just said trade is official. Stop the presses. And the Sixers just got Malachi Richardson.
Yeah, I know. I was actually gonna interrupt you earlier to bring it up, but I'm like, dude, it's Malachi Richardson. I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah,
I'm not going to stop a train of thought for Malachi Richardson.
It's for draft considerations.
That's it, and it was a salary thing too.
Salary thing. D'Angelo Russell against Denver. I don't know if I'm interested. Like, his price went down to 8,300. But I have. My first inclination was I like it a lot, but now I'm sitting here going, Zach LaVine against New Orleans, Buddy Hield against Houston, Clay against San Antonio, Middleton against Washington, Brogdon against Washington, Marco Bellinelli. Like, D'Angelo Russell's just in that weird spot. I'm gonna have to force him in,
probably,
because he's not of the top end, and he's not like in the salary savings type of situation,
right. Definitely not. Like you're going to have to physically remove Buddy Hield from my lineups tonight. I mean, I'm going to have a shitload of Buddy. So that means, okay, now is your second shooting guard, like you said, is it going to be Luka? Is it going to be Harden? Is it going to be Drew? Is it going to be Russell? Is it going to be Mitchell? Is it going to be Beal? Is it going to be LaVine? And there are so many ridiculous options at the shooting guard spot. It kind of feels like you kind of have to be really lucky and pick the right one here, man. I do think that Buddy will go probably lower owned than expected. And then what I mean by that is that there, like I said, there's Harden and there's all these other higher tiered guys. Like, I think D'Angelo Russell gets more ownership than Buddy Hield does. And so, Buddy is so Fox is going to have Chris Paul glued to his ass pretty much the entire game, or at least for the 33 minutes that Chris Paul is going to play. And what does that mean? That means that Buddy's going to have either Enos or Harden on him, because Shumpert's going to be out there just to guard Harden. That's going to be his job today.
Yep.
Which is a little bit concerning for guys like Bjelica, guys like Cauley Stein. I say that because so typically the way the Kings run their offense is they start Fox, Shumpert, well, actually Buddy Shumpert, but they can kind of be interchangeable. Bjelica and Willie, and then they bring in Bagley really early for Bjelica. Bjelica hasn't been playing very much at all.
He can't keep his hands to himself right now.
Yeah, he's definitely handsy. That, and Bagley's a baller. Let's just call it. I mean, guy's a beast. He's a phenomenal player, young guy, young player. He's winning games for him. So if I'm Sacramento and I see what this kid is doing, I'm like, screw Bjelica. I want this kid to go in there and play.
Yep.
And so regardless of how much we overpaid for Bjelica, but that's a different topic. So for me, I look at it like it's going to take away from even more from those guys. It might even take a little bit away from Bogdanovich, because they're going to need Shumpert in there to defend Harden. And he's not going to stop him, but there's nobody. You can literally look at that entire rotation. There's not one guy on that rotation that can actually keep up with Harden like Shumpert can. And right. He's not a 30-minute-a-game player this year, but I think you might actually get that here.
Yeah. And, when you sit there and you talk about Iman Shumpert getting 30 minutes, your automatic inclination is to say, all right, let's go put him in a lineup. Not so fast. I probably would not do that. Just because he's not out there to be a part of the offense like he was the last game, because he did go off the last game. He had 31 fantasy points, played 34 minutes, shot 63% from the field. So, right. You don't have I don't think that's going to be the Shumpert game. Like, we get usually one of these games, one or two of these games every 2 weeks. I don't think tonight's it. So, value that's kind of going off that everybody's kind of talking about is Marco Bellinelli, 4,300 on FanDuel. Probably going to see over 30 minutes. I don't mind it, I guess. It's another thing with the situation with the guards there in, San Antonio. Somebody's gonna have a good game, but be careful because Bellinelli's one of those veterans that he could come out and play 15 minutes and be done.
It's also very true. Yeah, and he's also one of those guys that can come out and make 10 3-pointers.
Yep.
But you got to say his name right. You got Marco Bellinelli.
Sorry, I'm not Italian.
I'm not either, obviously. But
you sound like Mario.
Yeah, that's where I get my Italian inspiration from is Mario and Luigi.
Yep.
But
I think a pivot in tournaments from Marco in the chalk might be Jamal Crawford. With Booker out now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I like it. I mean, look, here's what. Like that night where Paul sat, people didn't want to play Harden. They played Utah. Mm-hmm. And people didn't want to play him because of Utah. Mm-hmm. Guys, Utah is not a good defensive team anymore. They're not. But everyone's like, oh, Utah's really solid. Guys, they're not. So the way Jamal Crawford is a guy without Booker that can come in, legitimately play minutes in the high 20s We're projecting him at 30 right now, by the way.
Yeah.
30. And he's going to see a lot of Donovan Mitchell on defense. So, I mean, no-brainer for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. And you're going to get him at probably a fraction of the ownership. So, just kind of one of those moves that you can make. So let's talk about small forwards here. We're kind of running a little bit behind, actually a lot of bit behind. But Giannis against Washington. I think he's going to be pretty chalky, especially with Harden at 14K. I think a lot of people are going to go straight to Giannis. He's not a bad shot or not a bad play at all. Kevin Durant, I don't think a lot of people are going to pay 96 for him. You could see some, but I think like 10 to 15% maybe.
Yeah, here's where I'm going to kind of have to tee off a little bit on FanDuel. Otto Porter has been bad. Why is he being priced up still?
Because
there's no reason.
Because
his
FanDuel
ownership
has
hasn't
tighter
been
pricing.
high. Tighter is one thing, but get it right. I mean, like, there's no way he should be 6,900. There's no way. It's too pricey for him and what he's doing.
He just put up a 40 against Milwaukee the last 2 games ago on the 2nd of February, and then against Atlanta, and he put up a 31. So that might be the reason why.
I mean, a 31 though, I don't know. So I'm not paying that. A guy that I have some mild interest is maybe Ariza from that game. Because he actually plays the small forward, and it's going to be Otto on Giannis. And Ariza probably is going to get Middleton. So I like it a little bit more. But I think tonight's the night we're finally going to get Will Barton.
Yeah, I'm finding it very, very hard not to play Will Barton in a lot of lineups. Be careful, like we said, we've talked about with Rudy Gay. Be careful with Rudy Gay. Kelly Oubre's an option now with Devin Booker out.
Absolutely.
He's going to see a ton of minutes. He's going to take a ton of shots. Him and Josh Jackson are both going to be the focal points of that offense, along with DeAndre Ayton. Davis Bertans is going to be your value chalk of the night at this position. $4,300 and slated for 34 minutes. Your pivot off of Bertans, if there is one, which I don't think there really is a good one, but for me would probably be Jae Crowder or Darius Miller.
I prefer Miller.
Just because of the minutes. I mean, they're the closest ones. That I would think that could even get close to it. What he's got.
I get the feeling though that Bertans is going to play no matter what. Like he's one of those guys that does get his minutes probably as consistent as I've seen on that roster.
Yeah, exactly.
Outside of Aldridge, of course.
Yeah. So that's it's. If there's one San Antonio guy I'm probably not going to fade a lot of, it's probably going to be Bertans. So all the rest of the value I'll try to mix in and mix out. But Bertans is a guy that I'm putting in a lot of my lineups right now.
It's going to be hard not to. So we got to talk about a guy that name's already been brought up in our behind-the-scenes coaching circles. Jabari Parker. He's 3,900. Now, let me explain to everybody why I'm not playing him. Okay. A lot of people look back and say, well, he just had a massive game. Well, he did, but the Bulls were missing a handful of guys that game, so he got the minutes. When Selden was out, I believe Zach LaVine was out.
Yeah.
So they're both coming back. So if we get 15 minutes of Jabari, 18 minutes maximum of Jabari, I get it. He's cheap. I don't know if he can justify that price at that. And we don't even know if he's going to play. I mean, we just don't know.
Yeah, we're speculating right now that he is probable. Like I said, I think he was with the team yesterday or today, but they haven't announced it for sure.
Yeah, and I don't even mean if he's going to play as if he's in. I mean, even if he's active, I don't know if he's going to see the court. That's what I mean.
Oh yeah,
But you just don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's kind of a risk for me. So with everyone back now, they're missing some guys, sure, but they're not. So so that's that. And then another guy that, I mean, I'm going to have a lot of Darius Miller, and I like it because Miller, obviously he can get really, really hot, really, really quick. And obviously you want that upside, but the main reason why I'm going to have Miller, you know who's going to be guarding him? Wayne Selden, who's basically a shooting guard. Miller is a really big-bodied guard, like big. So, yeah, I mean, that should tell you why I like him.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. So, all right, let's move on to power forward here. I'm going to save my Julius Randle take until after we know exactly if he's playing or not. As of right now, he's not making his way into any of my lineups. I don't foresee that changing even if he is active, unless he's deemed active with no minutes restriction and starting. And I doubt we get all that information before lock. Yeah. So I probably going to play it safe there and not go with a Julius Randle lineup. Kenneth Faried, Lauri Markkanen, Draymond Green, Marvin Bagley, Josh Jackson. Like, that's that core right there, those five.
Who are they again?
Faried, Markkanen,
okay,
Draymond.
You can stop right there. I wanted to make sure you include Markkanen because he's probably at the top of my list. So
yeah, and then Draymond, Bagley, and Josh Jackson. Like, I'm finding myself with a lot of Josh Jackson, Marvin Bagley lineups.
Same
and then I'll go from there. I don't know if Paul Millsap's going to play today. If he's out, I personally don't think it's a Miles Plumlee type of game.
Nope.
I would rather go with a Juancho Hernan-Gomez or a Trey Lyles or a Tyler London.
Yep.
Not quite sure who yet. I'd have to look more specifically, but I'm off of Plumlee. I don't know what to do with the Dallas power forwards. Both Powell and Kleber are going to play, but the matchup is a little off for me because of the fact that Cody Zeller's back. So that kind of throws a little bit of a wrinkle in it for me.
I mean, I can see it. I still don't mind playing him because he's still going to get the same minutes. He's still going to get the same matchup. He'll probably match up. Well, I mean, we don't even know who they're starting yet. So
yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that before lock either, knowing them. So, but if they're going to start Finney Smith and Harrison Barnes at the 3 and 4, which they could realistically do, for all we know, man, he could go and start, Courtney Lee. I don't know. So it's hard. It's hard to talk about something that's not known.
Yeah,
it's too difficult.
Check Diallo. If Julius Randle's out, I have a little bit of interest here on FanDuel as a drop score. He's a guy that can get hot from the field, and if this game becomes a battle in the trenches or in the paint, then he's going to be needed to kind of supply some of that rebounding along with Jahlil Okafor. So I've got a little bit of interest there, but it all depends on the Julius Randle news.
Yep.
I don't know what to do with the Brooklyn guys because they're all playing about the same.
It's tough.
It's tough. I would want one of them out.
Yeah.
For me,
and now they're all in. So
yeah,
and they might get LeVert back in another week or so too. I think they just sent him to the G League to start to
they just recalled him. him and Joe Harris just got recalled from the G League yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So they're both questionable, leaning towards probable today. So
wait. No.
I swear to you.
Harris is, but LeVert? No.
Alan Crabbe. Sorry.
Crabbe, yeah, it's Crabbe.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm talking about LeVert. Like, LeVert's going to come back here soon, and they're going to be really healthy. So, yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yep.
Yeah, Trey Lyles was a guy we just talked about for whoever's asking in chat there. Trey Lyles is the guy that we like if Millsap sits over Plumlee.
Yep. I don't know, with no Thon Maker now, DJ Wilson's kind of a little intriguing. He's been playing minutes anyways. I'm not saying that Thon, but now there's no backup outside of Ersan Ilyasova. So that's a little intriguing for me as a drop score candidate. There's going to be some drops available. So,
so you mentioned DJ Wilson.
Yeah, we're just waiting on a bunch of news for all this.
He's really intriguing. So first of all, Thon hasn't played in a while since he demanded his trade. They're like, you want to trade? Go fuck yourself. Go sit on the end of the bench. But like the thing about it is DJ Wilson plays in two very common scenarios. Scenario A, Giannis gets in foul trouble. And that happens a lot, unfortunately. Scenario B, they're up 1,000 points, which also happens very often. They've been blowing the doors off of the whole league, man. It's been crazy. Those two scenarios are when DJ Wilson gets extended run, outside of his normal backup minutes, right? Tonight, Milwaukee's favored by 11.5. I think that's being generous. I think Washington gets the crap blown out of them. So obviously, we're not predicting blowouts. I get that. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like it.
There's something going on with your Raiders, by the way. Yeah, I do like DJ Wilson. For anybody that wants to know, he is a whopping 3,400 on DK, so he's right there around the same price. All right, let's talk about centers here real quick before we get out. Nikola Jokic, he's good at basketball, and he's going against Brooklyn. And centers versus Brooklyn is a thing. His price also went down. And, yeah.
Hard not to play him.
Yep.
Really hard not to play him.
It's also hard not to play Rudy Gobert against DeAndre Ayton.
It is.
Remember, guys, we don't predict blowouts, so please don't. DeMarcus Cousins is a little scary just because
it's kind of hard to swallow.
Like, it's not the price or anything like that. It's more of like when we don't predict blowouts, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not predicting the blowout, but if anybody's likely to sit tonight, I think it's Boogie. Now, I'm not saying that Kerr is going to do that because they still all need court time together. But, like, I think he's the one that could end up getting hurt the most out of all the rest of these guys if the game were to get out of hand or, you know, something to that effect. Part of me feels like they could just say, take it easy with Boogie, and then
it's possible.
Let's just go out and handle our business. And I'm looking. Okay, the Spurs are on the back end of a back-to-back. They're on national TV again tomorrow. That's why this is all going on. Front end of a back-to-back. So that's why this is going on. So yeah, Boogie's iffy for me. Now, the two guys that are going to pop are Pau Gasol and Jakob Poeltl. I would have to lean with the Jakob Poeltl in this sense, just because Pau could come out, play 10 minutes, and be done for the game.
Yeah.
But It's not like I'm excited to play Jakob Poeltl anyways. I don't think that this is a great matchup if Boogie plays. I don't think that this is the type of game for Poeltl, but he's going to be out there 25 to 28 minutes, and he's min price, and he could fall into, 25 fantasy points.
Yeah.
Or at least 20.
And also, he's one of those guys that hasn't been getting a ton of run. And when guys get an opportunity, they relish. So, I mean, and we've seen Jakob put up some pretty nice numbers in his time with Toronto. So, I mean, the opportunity is definitely there.
Yep. I think if Jakob's going to be chalk, you can pivot to Gasol in tournaments to try to – they're the same price on both sites to try to, get some of that ownership leverage and hope that it plays in your favor. But I don't know. It's a touchy and weird situation.
Yeah.
So, Willie Cauley-Stein, maybe 28 minutes against the Rockets.
Nope.
Okay, why not? Because he's popping on the DS. So explain to everybody why.
Nope. Well, so first of all, Willie is a big part of some of their trade discussions. That's number one. Number two, he's priced where he is for a reason, right? What's been happening is they've been bringing in Bagley essentially as their center.
There you go.
And Cauley-Stein he's starting, but he's not getting his 33, 34 minutes that he was getting to begin the season, where he was like 9K at one point. They're going to Bagley now. Bagley is he's essentially their center. So
I'll say this, okay? If he plays 30 minutes, he's going to crush.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's worth a shot or two in tournaments if you're making multiple lineups because the matchup is good. But understand this, in other lineups, you better have some Bagley as well because one of these two is going to go bananas. So, and do not put them in the same lineup.
And I think it's going to have to be Bagley just because he's getting the minutes, man. So, I mean, that's what it boils down to is who's going to be playing. And then that's, I'm just going to take a look real quick at something here.
I mean, Cauley-Stein played 2 games ago, played 31 minutes or 32 minutes. Against the Clippers, he played 31. Against Memphis, he played 30.
But hang on. So that 32 minutes was against Embiid.
Yeah,
right?
No, I get it. That's where I was headed. Is like a lot of these matchups where he's playing, and it's not like Cauley-Stein can't run with Houston because he absolutely can, but the emergence of Bagley has made Cauley-Stein expendable.
Yeah,
especially considering he's going to be a free agent this year.
He's a free agent. He's also still young.
Yes.
There are a lot of teams like Houston's situation before they got Fareed that could have used him. I mean, there's a market for him, and I think they're going to be solidified in having Bagley along with Giles, and then they've got some more backup bigs in Kufis and the Haitian dude. I forgot his name. Anyways, so I mean they've got bigs. There's no lack of bigs there. So I could see that happening. Will it? I don't know. I have to find the market. But either way, I mean, for me, it's going to be Bagley. So I can't really play Willie.
Yep. Alrighty, guys. That's going to do it for us today. Make sure that you tune in a little bit later. We've got donuts. We've got Mutt and I forgot who else is coaching. Keg. They'll have their sheets out later. It looks like donuts is already done. So we'll all be around. So Bear, good thing that you got a good mic today. I love it. Love the sound. And we'll keep progressing going forward. So for myself, for the DFS Army, for Mr. Bear here, we gone.